Hello and good morning, good afternoon and very good evening to you. The good work of the tube. Hope you're all today, hope you're feeling grand and all's well in your world. Hello there, welcome to another Q&A Wednesday everybody. Let's get to it, shall we? Question 1 today. Different surroundings today everybody. So question 1 today is do you think the Boss Katana 50 would be a good amp to do a Stevie Ray Vaughan type tone? If so, could you demo it? Yes, Stevie's tone came from him, so it's like anybody's kind of like iconic tone from Stevie to Eric Clapton to Jimi Hendrix to John Frusciante to whoever. Their tone comes from them. You can only ever approximate, you can only get a certain kind of like, distance close to that kind of sound. But the Katana will do a really good job of getting that kind of like Stevie kind of tone, so to say. So I will play a bit in a sec through the Katana and let you hear it in a minute. But I'll tell you what I've got going first. Basically, I've got no pedals, so it's just we're just straight into the Boss Katana, using my white Strat down to E flat. One of the things that is really important when playing Stevie stuff is to always be in E flat, because Stevie always used to play in E flat, and the tonality is different on a Strat when it's in E flat. It sounds totally different when it's in standard. It's a really strange thing. Some strats actually sound better in E flat than they do standard. It's a weird thing, and so always important to remember that play in E flat all the time if you're going for that kind of Stevie Ray Vaughan kind of tone, because being in standard it almost seems to kind of brighten it up too much. It's really weird, but so yeah, you want to be in E flat. That's kind of a first thing. Use 13 gauge strings. It doesn't matter what string gauge you use. If gauge 13's at a lot more low end, you just turn the bass dial up. You don't need to use 13s. You don't have to do everything exactly like Stevie. Okay, so Boss Katana. I've got it on the brown mode, which is a really, really awesome mode on the Katana. It's really, really versatile in what it does. But I've got it on the brown mode at this point in time. I have gain at 8 o'clock, so it's just it's 8 o'clock. You want it somewhere between 7 and 8, and kind of like just below 7 is off, so to say. But you will still get a signal, but it'll be too clean. You want it somewhere between 7 and 8 o'clock on the kind of gain, unless you've got higher pickups. I always have my pickups super low. You'll be able to see that, but and you can see on Stevie's guitars, these pickups were never really very high. So, because you can push the amp more, it's a cleaner sound, and you're able to push things a bit more. So just bear that in mind as well, pickup height. Stevie never used to have his pickups very high. So, I've got the gain, like I say, set at 8 o'clock, somewhere between 7 and 8 is where you want to be. If your pickups are really high output, then I'll probably maybe stick gain on 0, just turn it all the way down. I have the channel volume all the way up on 10, so that's all the way up. I have bass at 12 o'clock, I have mids at 9 o'clock, and I have treble off. Okay, so again, just to repeat the EQ, bass is at 12 o'clock straight up, middle is at 9 o'clock, so kind of like, that way, and treble is all the way down, so I'm not using the treble at all. You don't need it, you've got single coil pickups. And I'm using the red mode reverb, and I've got that set at about 10, 11 o'clock, about between 10 and 11 o'clock, so it's kind of like halfway. At this point in time, the amp's on the 0.5 watt mode, and the master is at 12 o'clock, so it's on the 0.5 watt with the master at 12. So, I hope that made sense. So let me play something for you. Let me play Pride and Joy, and maybe something something else as well, and then you can hear it. Like I say, this is my approximation. This is kind of like as close as I feel I can get to kind of that kind of Stevie tone. It's really hard to get it like absolutely bob on. There's only a few people who have ever got it like nailed on, and even then it's slightly different. People like Phil Sace and John Mayer, they kind of get that really, really close to Stevie's tone. But again, it's not Stevie, you know what I mean? It's Stevie's tone came from him. So just bear that in mind. It's never going to be 100%, and just kind of like, that's okay. It's fine not to be 100%. But this is the approximation I've got. So let me turn the room mic off, go to the 57 and let me play some. Let me attempt to play some Stevie Ray Vaughan for you. It's really hard to play Stevie because the man was an animal on the guitar. So let's play. Okie, so there's my little approximation of kind of like a Stevie Ray Vaughan-esque kind of tone out of the Boss Katana 50. Like I said, I'm not using any pedals. The guitar's just straight into the amp. And I say just using the brown mode, which is probably my favourite mode on the amp. Okay, so is there anything else to mention? Don't think there is. No, so yeah, just use that as kind of a jumping off point, so to say, really. But yeah, the Boss Katana can do a pretty good kind of like Stevie Ray Vaughan-esque kind of sound. It can do pretty much anything, that thing, actually. It's a bit ridiculous. It's like the CR120 and the Marshall MG. They're just ridiculously versatile. So just to recap, we're on the brown mode. Gain is set at about 7 o'clock. Well, actually, probably, I don't know. No, I'd say gain is set at 8 o'clock, everybody. Actually, I retract my previous statement of 7. So yeah, so brown mode, gain at 8 o'clock, volume all the way up. Bass is at 12 o'clock, mids are at 9 o'clock, treble is all the way off, and I've got the red reverb mode on, and I've got the reverb about 10, 11 o'clock, give or take, but yeah, somewhere between 10 and 11 o'clock. It just gives a nice kind of you know. It's just a nice kind of bit of reverb, just to kind of like, you know, depth it out a bit more. Okay, so I hope that's answered your question. Moving on to question 2 now, everybody. So question 2. Question 2 has quite a lot of kind of like sections, so to say. So let's get going. So question 2 is question 2 kind of A is what's your opinion on Mike Oldfields' music and guitar playing? I don't really have an opinion. I don't really listen to him. I have heard a little bit of his music, and I did like one piece, but I forget what it was called. It was quite nice guitar kind of playing. It was really cool. But I don't really have an opinion. I don't listen to him enough to have a opinion that kind of like, you know, that is valid. If you know what I mean. It's you know, I don't listen to his music enough really. Okay, so I guess move on from there. Sorry. Question 2B, if you will. How anxious were you before your first gig? And how did you overcome it? And generally, what helps you overcome pre-gig anxiety? I was very anxious before my first ever gig. I was terrified. It was very, very nerve-wracking. And I'd only been playing guitar 6 months. 6 months. Sorry, yeah, 6 months. I've been playing guitar 6 months by that point when I did my first gig, so I wasn't exactly confident in the slightest about what I was doing or why I was there. And I went along to the gig. We were only going to play 2 songs. We were going to play Buck Rogers and By the Way by the Chili Peppers. And I went along to the gig and I had my PV Rage and my Washburn Maverick Series guitar, and that was it. I didn't have any other guitars or anything like that. I didn't have pedals at that point or anything like that. And I turned up to the gig, and there was some other bands on that night. Anyway, we watched the other bands play, and then it came time for us to go on. And the guitarist in the band who was on before us, we were going to finish. We were going to like end the show, so to say. It was a bit nerve-wracking to say the least. And the guitarist said, "Oh, you can use my amp." And I was like, "Oh, cool." He says, "Your amp won't be loud enough." I didn't know that at that point. Like I thought PV Rage was very loud. But I didn't realise it wasn't going to be loud enough for a massive hall. So I said, okay, I'll go through yours. And I walked on stage, and it was a Marshall half stack. And I didn't know it at the time, but it was a TSL, the Triple Super Lead, the 3-channel one. And I had no idea I was well out of my depth with it. I had no idea what I was doing. I was twiddling every dial possible to get it to sound right. And I had no idea what I was doing. It must have sounded terrible. Anyway. But I was terrified, and we did Buck Rogers, and we did By the Way, and it was quite fun actually. It was fun looking back on it, but it was nerve-wracking. But it was just a case of one of those things, you just get on and you just do it. That's the way it is with anything really. Overcoming anything is you just gotta kind of like, you know, you just gotta kind of get on sometimes and just do it. Sadly, and it's not easy sometimes. But yeah, I was terrified at that gig. It was great, but it was a great feeling afterwards. It was worth it for afterwards. And I think, to be honest with you, I think if you're not nervous and a bit anxious about going on and playing, then I don't really think you should be doing it as much, because you need that kind of like anxiety and that nervousness to kind of force you into pulling it out of the bag, so to say. Really, you know, it makes you dig deeper, I think, personally, than it would if you didn't have that. I think you should always be nervous, and I don't know anybody who doesn't get nervous before they go on and play, to be honest with you. Anybody who says they aren't nervous before they go on a gig and say, "Oh, I'm not nervous, I'm fine," you know, I think they're a liar, because it is a nerve-wracking thing. You know, it doesn't matter how confident you are, the nerves, one way or another, will get you one way or another. You know, it's just human nature to be nervous about doing something like that. So yeah, I was very nervous for my first gig. How did you overcome it in general, and what helps you overcome pre-gig anxiety? Just playing guitar. Just playing guitar. I don't like gigs, really, where you turn up, you set up, and you play immediately. You don't get any kind of like downtime to just kind of like mess around and just take it in before you play. I don't like doing that. I like to be able to get to a venue, set up, sound check, and then just kind of go somewhere quiet and play my guitar for an hour. Which I don't normally get the opportunity to do. But as long as I've got my guitar with me, I'm okay. My guitar is my safety blanket. And another thing is, I don't like looking people in the eye, but that's a complex that I've got in my stupid little head. So I'm not very good at looking up during gigs. If I look up, and I can do it sometimes, but most of the time I have to keep my head down and just kind of, or keep my eyes shut, or just kind of like, you know, look off into the distance. I'm not very good in that respect, you know what I mean? I'm not very good at looking people in the eye and stuff like that kind of thing. At a gig, it tends to distract me from what I'm doing Whereas if I just bury myself in the guitar and just focus on what I'm doing, it's a lot more easy for me to do it. I'm not very good when I feel all eyes are on me. You know what I mean? I have to zone it out. I have to just zone it out and just focus on what I'm doing. So I'll get my brain being the way it is. It will focus on negatives, and it's not good. And then it's just a slippery slope downwards from there. And then my playing and performance will suffer for it. So yeah. So I don't think you ever overcome it. I don't. I've never have. I've never overcome like being nervous for a gig. There have been gigs where I haven't been looking forward to them, but that brings about a different kind of anxiety and nerves, you know, of like, you know, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be here. You know, I've had that a few times in the past, present and future. I'm sure in future. I don't know why I said future, but hey, why not? Yeah, I've had it a few times, and you know, it's just one of those things. I don't think you ever overcome it. You just get on and you do it. And you learn to cope with it. You know, you find your own coping mechanism, whether it be running around the stage, whatever. You know, running around, diving around, just stood in a corner. You know, standing still, whatever. You know, whatever it is that helps you perform. You know, that's what you need to do. So yeah, but I don't think you ever really overcome it. You know, you want to be nervous before a gig. It'll get more out of you. It's a good thing to be nervous. Okay, so next part is of question 2 is how should I react if you have a bad gig? However, I mean it depends really. I mean it depends how bad the gig is. You know what I mean? If it was absolutely catastrophic, I remember I did a gig once where it was absolutely catastrophic, and I reacted very, very badly to it afterwards. It hit me hard, to say the least, and everything went wrong. Like the bass player's amp died during the first 2 songs, and then the drummer broke his bass pedal, and then my amp died, and then the bass amp went down again, and then the drummer broke his spare bass pedal, and then some of my pedals broke, and then my lead broke, and then the PA broke. I mean, literally, anything you could have said that had gone wrong at that gig, it went wrong. And I actually have it recorded as well, and it's catastrophic. It's absolutely catastrophic. And I ended up doing quite a lot of it solo while they were fixing the bass amp and the drums, and you know, and I kind of doing quite a bit of it solo on my own, and it was probably in front of like maybe 5, 6 people. There wasn't anybody there, but it was a catastrophic gig. And at the end of recording, I actually threw my guitar. It wasn't this guitar; it was actually my yellow Strat I used to have. I was playing that. Oh yeah, because I broke a string as well. I broke a string on my white Strat, and I didn't have any spares. So I was playing my yellow Strat, and I was just doing this guitar solo instrumental thing, and I lost it, and I just took the guitar off and just threw it and just walked out, and I couldn't believe it. It was one of those things where I was sat outside with my head in my hands, like I literally don't understand what the hell just happened. It was just absolutely, it was so depressing. It was so depressing and so upsetting that eventually, you know, you keep it going for as long as you can, but eventually you give up and you're done. So depending on how bad the gig is, you know, you just take it for what it is. If it was really, really bad, then, you know, just take it for what it is. If it's bad, it's bad. If it's good, it's good. If it's not that great, it's not that great. If it's amazing, it's amazing. You know, you just it's hard to tell you how to react because I'm not you. It's a very personal thing. How people react to certain things. It really is. It depends on where your brain is at that point in time. And you know, bad gigs happen. You know, it could be, you know, bad gigs happen and good gigs happen, and you know, that's just, you know, it is what it is, so to say. At the end of the day, you know, you can't stop bad things happening at gigs, and you can't make good things happen. So if it's bad, it's bad. If it's good, it's good. It's up to you to react the way you feel. At the end of the day, it's all down to feel. Everything to do with music and life in general really is down to feel. So if you feel angry, feel angry. If you feel depressed, feel depressed. If you feel kind of like, you know, indifferent, you feel indifferent. You know what I mean? It comes down to kind of you know, just how you feel, not how anybody else feels or what. You know, one person might say that gig was amazing and you had the worst time in the world. You know, I've done gigs where I thought, my God, I have played an absolute troll of a gig. I've played terribly. I kept repeating that one lick. That was terrible. That solo was rubbish. That singing was terrible. This, that, and the other. And then people come up to you and go, "That was the most amazing thing I've ever seen." So it's weird. It's a weird thing. So yeah. I mean, just react the way you feel. You know, just however you feel is the way you feel. So to say. Okay. So next part of question 2 is what makes you better at keeping time and working with other musicians? Playing along and learning songs. Playing along to your favourite records and stuff like that, I would say is the way to go. And playing along with other musicians is key. Playing with people makes you better. Playing with people better than you makes you better. And playing along to your favourite songs on your favourite album makes you better as well. So yeah, I'd recommend that. And you know, metronomes can help as well. If you play along to a metronome, metronomes are always good to kind of like, you know, lock you in. I can't do metronomes. They don't work for me. I just find it very clinical. But no, there is ways around it. Drum machines. If you use a drum machine, you've actually got a kind of a drum beat instead of a tick 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 tick. You know what I mean? You've actually got a beat, which is a lot more easy to kind of keep time with. So drum machines, working with other musicians, playing with better musicians than you, and just playing along to your favourite albums. You know, playing along to your favourite songs. You know, it's key really. Okay, so the final part of question 2 is, when are you good enough to play in a band? Whenever you feel ready. It comes down to whenever you feel ready. It's not about when people tell you. There isn't a set limit. You know, it's like, oh, play guitar for a year and you'll be ready. You know, it doesn't matter. When you feel ready, when you feel comfortable, you can play to a certain standard and you can play in a band, then you're ready. It's not up to anybody to tell you otherwise. It's down to you. When you feel ready, you're ready, so to say. So, you know, it sounds a bit weird and cliche, but it is true, honest. So, yeah, just whenever you feel ready, just go for it. Okay, so I hope I've answered your question. Going to move on to question 3. So question 3. When learning guitar these days, do you think YouTube is helping or holding people back? Let me start again. When learning guitar today, do you think YouTube is helping or holding people back in regards to figuring things out by ear, books, and other musicians? Yes and no. I do think YouTube does make everything very accessible and very easy and very now, instead of having to kind of slave away at it and really learning to develop your ear and learning your own kind of like, you know, your way of learning. Finding your own way of learning, sorry. I do feel YouTube kind of gets rid of that because everything's so accessible these days. You know, everything, you know, even when I first started playing guitar in 2002, I had to rely on people and tab books, which I couldn't read, which I didn't know at the time. I was dyslexic, so I struggled and I didn't know why. I had to rely on people telling me tab books and my ears, you know, and sitting there and really slaving at the guitar, you know, and really figuring it out. What am I doing? Where are the notes? What's he doing there? How can I figure it out? I remember for the longest time doing this. I really wanted to know how to do that because I'd seen John Frusciante do it and James Dean Bradfield doing it from Manic Street Preachers, and Slash doing it as well. And I wanted to know how to do it, and it took me years to understand how. And Mike McCready as well. It took me years to understand how to do that. You know, I couldn't go anywhere. Everyone I went to had no idea how to do it. Everyone I asked had no idea how to do that trill. So, I just had to basically just kind of like, you know, figure it out and slave it. Whereas these days, yeah, you just have to type it on YouTube and you'll find a video in about a minute of how to do it, and it'll tell you how to do it. So I do agree with that to an extent. Where in the fact of, yeah, definitely everything's a lot easier these days to access, so to say. So it's a lot easier to kind of get hold of the information you want very quickly, and very easy to kind of like, you know, to learn it very quickly without having to kind of like really develop your ear and really earn it, so to say. If that makes any sense. I get that term from Andy Timmons, because Andy Timmons said a great thing about the guitar is like, you know, if somebody's showing you how to do something really hard, and they just divulge that information immediately, and then you know how to do it, then, you know, then it's down to you to earn it, if that makes any sense. I don't know. But maybe I'm not talking sense. But it's true. You know, you've got to... There does come a point where you've got to develop yourself. You know, you want to be kind of like, you know, you do want to be developing your ears to play, not just looking at things on YouTube and stuff like that. You know, your ears are the most important part of learning to play any instrument. You know, you need to develop your hearing towards what, you know, what's going on and where and how and tonality and stuff like that. Because you know, it's just really, really important, you know, to know the difference between doing a lick here and here. You know, you can hear the difference in tonality. You know, it's and to hear that in a track and go, oh, he's not doing it there, he's doing it here, you know, and that all comes from your hearing. But yeah, I do agree to an extent that everything is very easy to access these days, and it's very kind of like I want it now kind of thing. You know, I don't want to have to learn. I don't want to have to wait for it. I want to know how to do that now, and I do feel that's not very constructive as a player. You know, just I want to learn how to do this, but I don't want to have to try and learn how to do it. I just want to know how to do it. That's not really a good attitude, I don't think. I think a better attitude is to just basically just kind of like go, I want to learn how to do this, so let me sit down with my guitar for however long I have to, weeks, months, years, whatever, and just really go at it and try and understand what is going on at that point in time. How can I, you know, what is it, what's going on, how is it going, you know, so to say. So, yeah, because it's all well and good people telling you, but you've got to earn it. You know what I mean? People can show you how to do things, but then it's up to you to earn that ability. You know, you can't just go, oh, I know how to do that now because YouTube told me so. No, it doesn't work that way. You've really got to sit there and just go through the motions, and you've really got to run it and run it and run it and run it until it locks in. You know, just going like, oh, I know how to do that now. It's like, no, you don't. You'll forget that in a week and you won't remember how to do it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. Anything you don't practice, your brain will forget, because guitar is a perishable skill. You know, it will go away if you don't practice. So I agree definitely on a certain extent that yes, YouTube and I want it now attitude is destructive to learning guitar or any instrument for that matter. You know, you need to put the hours and the years and the months in. You can't expect to be great just because, straight off the bat. Just because, you know, you've watched a couple of videos on YouTube and whatnot. So, yeah, I do agree with what I'm saying. But, on the flip side, YouTube is brilliant because you get to see the actual people doing it. Like, you can just go on, like, and see how Jimi Hendrix did a certain thing, or John Frusciante did a certain thing, or Stevie Ray Vaughan did a certain thing. And you can just watch them and learn how they did it. But again, after you've learned how they did it, it's up to you to earn that ability. You know, you can't just kind of like watch them go, oh yeah, I know how to do that now. You know, you need to earn it from that point on. Then you need to feel how to do it, and then you need to incorporate it into your playing somehow. You know, there's no point learning that lick and never using it in your own playing. You know, you need to find a way to get that in there one way or another. Okay, so yeah, I do agree that it is destructive, but it's also a blessing in disguise. It's really, really cool, and I use YouTube a lot to learn, but I still prefer to use... I still love listening to music and figuring out things by ear. I just prefer it. I just really do prefer it. Okay, so, people of the tube, what do you think? Do you think YouTube is helping or holding people back in regards to learning? Like, you know, how people used to by ear and book and talking to people. Do you think YouTube is holding people back? Let me know in the comment section below what you think, people of the tube. Okay, so, I hope that's the question. Move on to question 4 now. Question 4. What pedal power supply do you recommend? The Voodoo Labs Pedal Power 2 Plus is the one I recommend. It's just amazing. I love that thing to bits. It's got reverse polarity for line 6 pedals and other pedals, like the Zoom G2, and it's got the sag thing where you can simulate dead batteries, and it's all isolated as well, so you just get no buzz. It's so quiet. So I would highly recommend that one. That's the one I always recommend, is the Voodoo Labs Pedal Power 2 Plus. It's just amazing. Well, that was a quick answer, Dave. You feeling alright? Okay, so question 5. Okay, so I'm going to have to get some things out here in a minute. So question 5. Do you have a vinyl record collection? And could you go through your records? Yes, give me a sec. I don't have many, so it won't take too long. But yeah, give me a sec. Okie dokie, so yeah, vinyl records. This is my collection. It's not massive, I don't have loads. I've got tons of CDs. I don't have many records, but I'll show you what I've got really quickly. I don't know. I don't know if I'll get through all of them, but anyway. So I've got singles and all sorts of stuff. So my singles I've got an original Hey Joe single here from 1966. So that's the original Hey Joe. It doesn't have its cover sadly, but I do have the record. So that's Hey Joe. This is really, really cool. This is a box set from I don't know when it's from actually, but it's basically it's a limited edition thing, and it's got all of Jimi Hendrix's singles in it. So you've got like Hey Joe, Purple Haze, Wind Cries Mary, Burn of Midnight Lamp, All Along the Watchtower, and Voodoo Child. So it's really, really cool. It's just like so it's just singles. No, like that. And these yeah, I don't know when these were from, but it's really, really cool. If anybody knows when this is from, could they let me know in the comment section? Because I'd actually like to know, because I don't know. But yeah, like I say, so I've got more Jimmy stuff. Iron Maiden, special edition, Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter. It's got an autographed disc, everybody. Check this out, this is really, really cool. So, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but it's an etched disc. So there's loads of, well, the entire band is on there, basically, and I think it's really, really cool. There's my mate, Dave Murray. So, I've got Iron Maiden. I've got quite a lot of Iron Maiden singles, actually. I've got Be Quick or Be Dead, which is an awesome song. What's this one? Running Free. This is a really cool one. Picture disc, everybody. This is Run to the Hills. Okay, so that's I've got some other Iron Maiden records as well, which I'll get to in a minute. These are the singles. I've got Whiskey in a Jar single by Thin Lizzy. This is brilliant. Ingrid Malmsteen, Heaven Tonight. I don't think it's that great song, but I wanted it. I mean, back in the day, look at the hair on that. Anyway, so that's Yngwie. That's not mine. That's Joe's. Hang on a minute. I've got some of Joe's in here now. Yeah, they're Joe's, and they've just got into my collection. I don't really know why. And one of my favourites, Rory Gallagher. This is really, really cool. This is. It's really weird. This is like a single of Photo Finish, and it tells you all the songs on Photo Finish on the back. But this has only got Shadow Play, Brute Force and Ignorance, and Moonchild and Souped Up Ford on it. And that's really, really cool. It's in really good condition as well. It's a bit tatty, but the actual record is in good nick. Original Blues Breakers record. You know, for those Eric Clapton early moments. What else have we got? I've got loads of Jimi Hendrix records. I have tons of Jimmy stuff. So it's another Jimmy record. Jimi Hendrix with Curtis Knight. Basically, he's just playing on that. He's not really doing much. Another Jimi Hendrix one, Rainbow Bridge. Going through them. What's this one? This is the Bold as Love album, and it's a weird cover. It's I don't understand it myself. But it is Bold as Love. It's got all of Bold as Love on this album, but I don't understand the green cover. It's really, really strange. It doesn't give me a year, does it? Let me just check the record, see if it gives me a year when this was. It's a bit on the old side. I can't get it out. 67. So it's from the time, but I don't understand the green cover. If anybody knows anything about these, let me know. This is another one as well. This is Are You Experienced? From, I'm guessing this is 66. Where's the way in? And I don't understand the brown covers. It's really, really, really weird. I don't know if they're a knockoff. I don't know, it's 67 as well. Anyway. Yeah, I don't really understand the brown covers, but this one's a lot of drinks resting on it at some point. But the record's in good nick. Okay, so moving along. Another Jimmy one. What's this one? I don't know. It doesn't say anymore. It's got a lot of really like older Jimmy songs on it. The Cry of Love. This one is. The Cry of Love. More Jimmy. This is Hendrix in the West. Tons. I've actually got quite a lot. This is an awesome record, this one. It's got loads of Jimmy's live stuff in it. It's got a version of Little Wing, which I've never heard anywhere else other than on this record. So, in Winterland, San Francisco, in 1968, October 11. It's an amazing version of Little Wing. I've never heard it on anywhere else in my life. So, I love this record. There's the back. There's Jimmy burning his guitar. Okay, so, moving along, more Jimmy. I've got that one twice for some reason, because... another Jimmy one, Johnny Be Good. Lots of random stuff on that. Another one that's not Rainbow Bridge again. I tend to double up on things, and I don't really know why. Isle of Wight Festival, everybody. And this one's really cool, because it's got Midnight Lightning on it. And if you've got the DVD of the Isle of Wight gig, they don't film Midnight Lightning. It's one of the songs they didn't film, but they didn't film Easy Rider either. They caught the audio, but they never filmed him playing Easy Rider. And you can tell in the DVD it's made up of like mashed up shots. But Midnight Lightning's an amazing song. Okay, so more Jimmy now. That is Midnight Lightning. Speak of the devil. So this is really cool. It's got loads of blues tracks on it that again I've never heard anywhere else. Like there's some very odd songs on here that I've never heard anywhere else, and you know. I don't know. Very strange. More Jimi Hendrix stuff. That's the Radio 1 sessions, which is really, really awesome. It's really cool. So, yeah, that's an amazing record. That is. I love listening to the BBC sessions. That's really cool. This is an amazing record as well, because on the inside here, be able to see it's a bit shiny. There's loads of information from Jimmy's road manager, Jerry Stickles, and Jimmy's guitar tech, whose name was Eric Barrett, how Jimmy set up his amps, and what his amps were, how he had his guitars set up, how he had his amps set up, how his amps were modded, and how his pedals were modded. So there's loads of information in this record of how Jimmy's amps were modded, and his pedals were modded, and his guitars were modded. So it's really, really cool read, and it's from Eric Barrett, who was Jimmy's roadman. So, and he also talks about the fact of they would trick Jimmy, because Jimmy would have a fuzz face on the stage, and he'd play a couple of songs with it. And they're like, "Oh, the fuzz pedal's broken. Change it out, change it out." And at the beginning, they used to change pedals. They used to carry around like a box full of fuzz pedals, like literally like 50 fuzz pedals, and he would always find something wrong with it. And Eric Barrett thought one time, I'm going to see if I can catch him out. So Jimmy said the usual thing, "Oh, the fuzz pedal's gone, give me another fuzz pedal." And he took that fuzz pedal away and gave him another one. And then sure enough, Jimmy said, "Oh, this fuzz pedal's gone, give me another one." And he gave him back the first fuzz pedal he had taken away in the first place. And Jimmy goes, "That fuzz pedal's amazing." And from that point on, they only ever toured with 2 fuzz pedals, 2 wah-wah pedals, and 2 Univibes, and that was it. They never carried any more spares than that. Okay, so more Jimi Hendrix stuff. More Jimi Hendrix. Oh, here we go. This is cool. Electric Ladyland, Part 1 and Part 2, everybody. These are my pride and joy. Originals, which I absolutely adore, and are in really good nick as well, which I'm very, very happy about. Hence they stay inside the sleeve. So, love that. Thanks to Joe for those. On to Rory Gallagher, everyone. My favourite album of Rory's, Photo Finish. I've got this. This is an original, and it's in amazing condition. And I love this one. This is awesome. My favourite Rory album. I've got the Live in Europe record. I've got the original Against the Grain record. It's still got its price tag on it as well, from W.H. Smith, $2.99. This was. It's just really cool, and you get a really cool picture of Rory's Strat. And look at the back. You can see how Rory's sweat burnt the finish, melted the finish on that in that picture. It's amazing. So there's that one. I have Tattoo, which is one of the best album covers of all time, bar none. It's just amazing. And I also have his debut album, debut solo album, Rory Gallagher, with stuff like, you know, Laundromat, Cinnaboy, Last Time, stuff like that. And get in very, very good condition. They're all original as well. They're not reprints or anything. They're all original. Okay, Iron Maiden's first album, original pressing. Happy Days. Iron Maiden's second album, Killers. And then you have Iron Maiden's third album, which is Number of a Beast, and I love Number of a Beast. And I love how it's still got the sticker on it. Price Attack! Da 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 da! So, that's another one. John Frusciante, Le wrong way round. There we go. John Frusciante, again. 4 Grow EP. This was like a limited edition, I think, this one. But yeah. I only like 2 tracks off this album, but they're worth it. And I love the artwork. I think it's really, really cool. What else have we got here? Alice in Chains, live in Hollywood, December 15th, 1992. Really, really awesome record. Temple of the Dog, original record. Again, it's a need. Pearl Jam. This is a live in Atlanta. And this is really, really cool. There's some really cool stuff on there. Oh, not that one yet. Stuck together. I have the 10 Redux album on record. So this is Pearl Jam 10, but it's the Redux one. It's the remixed one, and I love it to bits. I actually prefer the remixed one to the original. I think it just sounds 10 times better, and you can hear everything so much better. Brendan O'Brien, I think, remixed it, and it just sounds immense. You've got to have it. Appetite for Destruction. Thin Lizzy Jailbreak is another album you have to own. You have to own this. It's just one of those cool things. I mean, look at that picture. How cool is that? You don't get this anymore. You know, when you download a song or an album, you don't get this, and this is really sad. You know, because this is amazing. You know, I could stare at that picture for hours while listening to the album. It's so cool. I mean, how cool is that? I mean, I'm getting all excited now. Okay, so Live and Dangerous is a proper live album you need to get as well. If you don't have it, highly recommend that. What else have we got here? This is a bit of a weird one, this one. I think it's just kind of like some kind of weird... it's very cheap. The actual vinyl, the record inside is so floppy. It's not very... It wouldn't take much playing for it to get knackered. It's just a cheapo kind of like compilation CD. But it's a cool picture on the front. Although Phil doesn't look very well at that point, and he wasn't. We'll save that one. Motorhead, because you got to have something Motorhead. This is all live as well. Motorhead live, really cool. I've got some blues records here. These are really cool. So there's some really cool stuff on here. These are kind of getting into the blues section now. Booker White. The World of Blues Power. This is really cool. It's got John Mayall, Eric Clapton, Peter Green, Paul Butterfield, 10 Years After, Savoy Brown. It's just an amazing record, this. It's really, really cool. So, really cool blues record. Raw Blues. This one's really cool. It's got an Ace album cover. I love the cover on this. But you've got like Peter Green on here as well, and you know, all sorts of stuff. It's really, really cool. Now I'll get some Fleetwood Mac. This is just like a compilation Fleetwood Mac one. I haven't got many, but this is really, really cool. Got some really cool tracks on there. And the last one, I need that. This is the history of Fleetwood Mac, but it's all Peter Green Fleetwood Mac. There's no new stuff on it. It's all kind of like, you know, Black Magic Woman and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's mostly Peter Green on here as well. There's not many songs that are Danny Kirwan or Jeremy Spencer. A lot of the songs are actually kind of like blues tracks and Peter Green's tracks. So I really like that, and it's a mad cover. I don't know whoever figured that one. Okay, and last but not least, this is brilliant. This is absolutely brilliant. This one, I love this. Okay, so they're a bit faded now. They're not in the best condition anymore, sadly. But this is Out in the Fields by Gary Moore. You can see Gary there. You know, this is quite cool. So that's out in the fields, and again, it's very discoloured, but it's really cool. I had to have it for that. And then on the other side, again, which is even more discoloured, is Phil. And this is Military Man. So basically you get like the single of Out in the Fields with its B-side Military Man, but on like these picture discs, which are really, really cool. So, and they actually fit together like this. I mean, how cool is that? I mean, that's just, that is just ridiculously cool, isn't it? So yeah, and they're a bit faded now, sadly, and they're not in the best nick, but it's cool to have them nonetheless, and I'll put them away in a bit. So yeah, there you go, everybody. That's my record collection as it stands at this point in time. It will grow. My CD collection would be here all day. I've got so many CDs. It's just crazy. But yeah, I've got a fair few records and this, that, and the other. So yeah. So hope that's answered the question. There you go. That's me going through my record collection. Okay. So final question of the day, everybody. Question 6. Is playing Funky Monks like John Frusciante, the song Funky Monks off Blood Sugar Sex Magic, like John Frusciante, bad for your frets? No, I mean, playing the guitar, you could technically class playing the guitar bad for your frets, you know what I mean? But, it's snapping the strings, like... I'd say it's more bad for your fingers. It really... I would say it's more bad for your fingers, not really your frets so much. I mean, your frets wear down, but I won't worry about it, to be honest with you. I don't think I wouldn't say it's really bad for your guitar, no. I'd say it's, bad for your fingers, especially if you're playing on acoustic. It's... Sounds weird because I'm in E flat, but yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. To be honest, I wouldn't say it's bad for your frets. You could say playing the guitar is bad for its frets, really, because you're pressing them all the time. But no, I won't worry about that. I think you're okay. And also, you also asked, have you ever? I can't read my own writing, everybody. My writing's like a dead spider's been dipped in ink and dragged across a page. That's what my writing looks like. Have you? Oh yeah, there we go. Have you ever tried to achieve If You Have to Ask solo tone from Blood Sugar Sex Magic? No, not really. I mean, I don't. Not really. No, I mean, I don't really go for emulating those kind of sounds. I do want to do I do want to do a video one day of emulating the I Could Have Lied guitar solo original tone, because that tone is gorgeous, and it's actually not far off that. It's not far off something like that, kind of Stevie Ray Vaughan-esque kind of tone. It does make me wonder. It makes me wonder now if you recorded that using a Fender instead of a Marshall. Interesting. Did John use a Fender amp for that song? Interesting. I know he had a Fender amp there, and he did use it for. I think he recorded "Salt Squeeze" on a Fender. So I read. But no, I've never tried to emulate the if you have to ask kind of tone. It's a really nasty kind of sound. It's a great sound. You said it. You think it was like a Big Muff and a DS2. I don't know if he had a Big Muff for the recording of Blood Sugar. I know he had his DS2. He had a DoD chorus and a compressor and his Ibanez wah. But I don't know if he had a fuzz pedal for recording Blood Sugar Sex Magic. I don't know. It's funny, really. I haven't really looked into that album as much as I've looked into other albums of John's, but which is strange, really, when he's using chords like this. But yeah, no, I've never tried to emulate that tone, but I would like to do something one day where I try and get, like, the I could have lied. Kind of solo tone. That tone is amazing. But say it does make me wonder now if it is something Fendery, like a cranked up Fender, because that. That bend, it kind of reacts in the same way you hear John play. I wonder if it was a Fender amp. You've got me thinking now. Okay, so yeah, I hope I've answered all your questions okay today, everybody. I hope you enjoyed a trawl from my very tiny little record collection. I do hope I've answered your questions okay. Sorry if I haven't. But yeah, so I'll see you again on Friday for another video. It's going to be a how to play John Frusciante vid. Finally getting round to teaching. And that's all I'm going to play. I'm not even going to say what the song is. You should know. Okay, so I'm losing my mind. But hey, what's new? Okay, so yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, everybody. I hope I answered your questions okay. I do apologise if the answers were a bit substandard. I do apologise for that. But hopefully you've been okay. And have a great morning, afternoon, and good evening. And I will see you again very soon. Have a great one. Goodbye now.